You're amazing. I'm telling y'all are awesome. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, looks like I forgot to put the intro back on.
Oh no.
My bad. So guys, welcome in to today's live. I am sorry about the intro video not being on. I did some recording earlier this week offline and just forgot to put it back on. But welcome in, guys. Coming off of another victory Saturday against Vanderbilt. Yo, little brother. Skylar, how we doing today, man?
Feeling pretty good. Thanks for the heads up on the whole no intro thing. I'm sitting there
that was my bad.
But Abdullah has subscribed on the YouTube. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling really good. If you've been following me on the TikTok and making some emotional hedge bets, they've been perfect. They have hit on both of them. So 2 weeks ago, if you are following, I said, look, I just guaranteed Tennessee into the playoffs. And basically what I did is I bet on everything that would not need to happen for Tennessee to get there because my parlays don't hit. And they didn't. And that helped us out a lot. Alabama goes down to Oklahoma. A lot of other teams went down in a big way. And then this last week, I said, you know what? We're going to up the ante. All right. I'm guaranteeing Tennessee a home playoff game. And we basically did the same thing. And what do you know? Miami loses. You got Ohio State dropping one in Michigan, which was, I did not have that on the bingo card whatsoever. But, here we are. Tennessee in a prime position. Not just to be in the playoff, because that's pretty much all but guaranteed, but to host, Michael. And, dude, you're telling me we might get another game in Neyland? And heaven forbid those guys make it a night game. Neyland going to be rocking, man. I'm really excited about it.
Hey, you know that if Neyland gets a home game, they're going to make it a night game because of the TV ratings that they will get off of that. Because that's what all this is about, man.
Justin on the YouTube says, go Big Orange. What's up, Justin? Hey, Texas had a great week as well. He's a big Texas supporter, but he supports our Vols as well. Texas, man, we're going to talk about it, but they got a whole nother level of respect from me this week. And but this show is all about the Vols right now. And before we get too much into this show, we are going to give a big thanks to our presenting sponsor, and that is Chris Smith Insurance. As a homeowner, Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company. So he decided to start an agency of his own, where instead of feeling like a big company is fighting against you, you'll know that your agent is fighting for you. All insurance is not equal. Trust the Chris Smith Insurance today. Give them a call at 865-272-3387. And guys, again, and I say this every week, Chris Smith is not just the guy that's going to get you the best rate, right, for insurance, because obviously that matters. He's also going to be that guy where in case something does go wrong and you got to file that claim, he's going to be right there at your doorstep to help you throughout that process. Thank you so much, Chris, for your continued support. We got some folks on the YouTube. We got Javon for Heisman. What's up, dude? How we doing? Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We got Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. Go Vols. Absolutely. Justin Williams says a night game will be lit for sure. And then Javon comes back and says, go Vols with a bunch of orange emojis. That's what I'm talking about, man. Thank y'all so much for joining us, man. We got a lot to talk about, obviously. Mike, you want to give us the rundown of our segments today?
Yeah, so segment one is going to be just the Vanderbilt recap, all of our thoughts on the game yesterday. Segment two, we're going to just talk about the playoffs, man. Give kind of like what we've done over the last couple of weeks, kind of figure out who we think is going to be out of each conference, like how many teams from each conference is going to be at. Talk about teams that hypothetically could make it in, basically just playoff talk for segment two. Segment three, we're going to give our game predictions for all of the Power Four conference championship games, as well as the Mountain West and the American, as those are the two group of five conferences that still have a shot of getting a team in that fifth spot. And then to wrap it up, Jake Arnold will be back with us tonight as we're going Rakin with Jake again tonight. So that's the lineup for our four segments. And without further ado, man, our segment one sponsor, it is Optimal Asbestos Services, your trusted environmental consulting firm in Knoxville, Tennessee. State licensed and insured, we specialize in asbestos air quality management for commercial buildings and homes. You can contact Jeff Bowl at 865-223-3297 or on the web at optimalasbestosservices.com. So, Tennessee, Vanderbilt in Nashville yesterday.
You mean in Neyland West?
Yeah, Neyland West.
Yeah.
Still under construction, by the way. That's been, 2 years? 3, maybe? Something like that?
It's been all right. It's been something like that. It's did you see the video of the construction workers, the contractors that were sitting like watching the game from like the rail? Like there was a standing rail and they were just sitting there with their vest on, like clearly supposed to be working, and they're just sitting there watching the game.
So
I
so
thought that was pretty funny.
I didn't see that yesterday, but I have seen it at different games this year where they've done that. So
Yes, sir. Nicole comes in and says night games at Neyland is something else. Absolutely. I mean, there's not anything quite like it. SEC football, comes in with an update. Pretty good one. Tennessee loses a huge recruit, an elite player. And what he's talking to or referring to is Lagonza Hayward, the 4-star safety, has decommitted. That did happen today. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
Did not? Yeah, I got you by surprise, didn't it? Yeah, I seen it earlier.
See, I thought that he was going to say David Sanders, and I was like, that hasn't been confirmed. And, David Sanders also supporting the Vols in his Thanksgiving Instagram post.
No, I don't think David Sanders going anywhere. There were some talks that he was, there was some rumors that if he were to go to the Ohio, man, I kind of wish he would have at this point with them losing. That would have been ugly. But there were some rumors that he was going to go to Columbus to watch the game. And he ended up not going at all. So I think that's really good news for the Tennessee Vols. But yeah, we did lose the 4-star safety. It's unfortunate, but that is what it is, man. Until they sign and until they get on campus, like anybody's pretty much, it's a free for all. You kind of do whatever you want. And we've been able to flip somebody. So, I mean, it's okay. It kind of comes and goes. It's ebbs and flows. So, but this is about Vanderbilt. And let me be honest with you, man. After that first quarter, or let's just say the first 6 minutes of this football game, my BVS was at an all-time high. Dude, was ready to throw everything in the living room. Like I was.
I had messaged my buddy Adam, and I said, "That's it. Playoffs are over with." He said, "Dude, we're just 5 minutes into this game." I said, "Nope, we're getting beat. That's it."
No. It was the giving up the opening kickoff. I kind of was like, okay, like you just got to get hit with some adversity. Like, that's okay. Like, that didn't set me off. Like, I was actually relatively calm because, at the end of the day, like, I was
as well.
The way I looked at it, I swear, I was like, you know what? We get to see Nico right off the bat. Like, I was like, let's go to work. But then Dylan Sampson, and I don't know why this is becoming a habit, but him fumbling that opening possession, and then they went down and scored within, like, literally 3 or 4 plays after that, I lost my crap. Like, that was inexcusable. Inexcusable. Yep. I don't know why it's happening. Ball security, he runs high and tight. It's just him fighting for extra yardage. And you think that, after talking to the running backs coach, you're hearing in the midweek that they're working on ball security. They're also working with Dylan Sampson. Just go down. Like, if there's no more yards to get, don't try to fight yourself. 1, for ball security, 2, for injury, right? That's when injuries tend to happen, when you're trying to fight for extra yardage and really there's just none to be had. Just go down. And once again, Dylan Sampson, and you hate to get on to him for it because you love to see that type of physicality and aggression when running the ball. But sometimes it is better just go down and get another 6 or 7 on the next play. But that kind of set me off. But then you've seen this team really settle in, down 14-0 and then 17-7 at one point, and they just reeled back in going into halftime, that last possession to go up 24-17 was masterclass. That was a beautiful thing to see. Nico was connecting all on every single one of that deep shot was terrible. Let's just scratch that out. Nico looked very good outside of that one throw. And then that throw to Miles Kitzelman to go up 24-17 at the half. Just a beautiful play. You've seen it literally opening up live as the play happened. And then him just throwing it right in the back of the end zone. It was superb. What a way to finish. We call it the middle 8, and Tennessee dominated the middle 8 once again and ended up getting a big win. Went on a 36-3 run and a 36-23 victory for the Tennessee Vols.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. The difference in this game was the middle 8 there because, it was tied at 17 late in the second quarter. Tennessee, in the last couple of minutes, they went on a long drive. I forget exactly how long that drive was, but took it right down the field on
it was like literally as long as the entire time of possession we had in the first half, wasn't it? I remember the commentator saying something like that.
Let's see, it was a 10-play 96-yard drive that took 2:19 off the clock, scored a touchdown off of it. Of course, Vanderbilt nailed it out to end the half. But then when you come out in the third quarter and you go 13 plays, 75 yards, and take 6:17 off the clock, just hammering hammering it down Vanderbilt's throat. And I'm trying to count here. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the 13 plays on that drive were all runs. It was very reminiscent. Do you remember in 2022 when Tennessee started the game
Jalen
against
Wright, Jabari
Kentucky?
Small, and Dylan Sampson all had like 80-yard runs.
Well, no, I was talking about the Kentucky game where
Okay.
Tennessee takes it down the field, scores. Kentucky takes it down, scores, gets an extra point block. But then Tennessee immediately just goes on like a 15, 16 play drive, just hammering it down Kentucky's throat. That's what it reminded me of. Like,
was that the
Tennessee
drive
just
that Dylan
imposed their
Sampson
will.
kind of took over? Was that the drive that Dylan Sampson kind of took over as because he was the true freshman, but like he literally had like 8 runs in that one drive, and he just kept picking up. Because I remember him taking over against Kentucky, but it was in Lexington, and I think that's the same. Maybe not, because if it was in 2022, they would have been. I think they would have been in Neyland. But either way, I'm with you. I know what you're talking about, and I agree with you. They really kind of took over, and they controlled the game in the second half a lot better than they did in the first half. The first half, honestly, Vanderbilt kind of controlled the game.
Yes.
Obviously, they let the lead slip, but they at least held the ball, kept the ball out of our hands for as long as they could help it, you know? And I'll be honest, though, the commentators really blowing up how well and effective their offense was playing. I felt like our defense played very well. Very well. By the way, real quick, the graphic still says UTEP. I do think that it's supposed to be Vanderbilt, but it's okay.
All right, I did change it up here.
Production's just slacking. Thanksgiving week, and we're just sleeping on the job. I get it. It's fine. Just wanted to let you know. No, I'm joking. But no, Tennessee's defense, I think, played very great, especially against Diego Pavia. But when it's 14-0 in the first quarter, they're just, man, Vanderbilt's off to a hot start. But I'm like, guys, special teams. Like, it's not like Diego Pavia was going up and down on this defense, because that was not the case. In fact, was very pleased with how we did kind of contain Diego Pavia, because, man, that's all they wanted to talk about during the game was how well he is with his arm, and he is a good player. Don't get me wrong. But, Tennessee's defense, for a change, has actually looked really good against mobile quarterbacks. Think about Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
We held him to like 17 rushing yards, period. And then you look at Diego Pavia. We did slip up again a little bit against Taylon Green, but they didn't really score 20 points, 30. They scored 19.
Well, it wasn't Taylon Green that really tore us up. It was the backup that came in after Taylon Green went down. That's where Tennessee kind of struggled, because he just took over the game with his legs. But you're 100% correct. Tennessee has done a pretty good job this year against mobile quarterbacks. I love that the script has changed on that, because over the last 3 years, that has been Tennessee's Achilles heel, is the mobile quarterback. And Jalen Milroe, the only game that he has played worse in as far as running the ball overall than the Tennessee game was against Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. Tennessee has had that to hang their hat on. But just you take away the first 6 minutes of this game, and this
domination.
Was a perfect Tennessee victory. Well, I won't say perfect, but you pretty much say a dominant Tennessee victory.
It was a dominant 3 quarters. Yeah, it was a dominant 3 quarters. You'd love to see us play a full 4 quarters, but it was definitely a dominant 3 quarters. Real quick, she said it earlier, but Nicole says we're like this, though. It seems like, it takes us a little bit to get in rhythm. I agree, but I don't want it to become a habit. I feel like it has. Like, that's what I'm trying to break. Going into the playoffs, like, the last thing we need is for Ohio State to drive it right down the field, and we're immediately down 7-0, and then we fumble it on our first possession. Now it's 14-0 against Ohio State in a playoff game. Like, that cannot happen. Like, we have to start out a little bit quicker than that. Real quick as well, Joseph Estrada on YouTube has subscribed. Thank you so much, Joseph. We really do appreciate you being here and being a part of the show. Got some folks watching. If you haven't done so already, please like the show, share the show, and let's keep talking about our Vols. Holden says, what's your confidence in our wide receiver room, presumably losing our top guys? I'm assuming he's talking about Brew. I'm assuming he's talking about Dante Thornton. And that's it. I think we keep Squirrel. I think we keep Brazel. And I'm actually very, very confident in this wide receiver room. And you've seen a glimpse of it. We literally just talked about this. Mike Matthews having kind of a coming out party next year. Or I said next year. Yes, I've seen your comment. My bad. Coming out party against Vanderbilt. You've seen him get a lot of playing time due to some injuries and some turmoil in that wide receiver room. But he made a great block on one of the Nico scrambles, I believe it was. He also caught, obviously, the touchdown pass from Nico. I mean, all in all, Mike Matthews is showing you why he was a 5-star wide receiver. I mean, he played very great as a true freshman. And I mean, that I think bolsters my confidence because you're going to have your pieces in there that have the depth and the experience, like, you know, depending on if they leave or not. But obviously, Chaz Nimrod, Caleb Webb are going to be there to kind of add some depth there. You got Braylon Staley. He's the same year as Mike Matthews. I'm very, very confident in our receiver room. What about you, Michael? What do you think about them?
I'm confident. There's a lot of young talent in that room that, you know, we just hadn't gotten to see this season because of the experienced talent that is ahead of them. I do think we're going to see some lumps in this room, and especially if we have to go with some of those younger guys in the playoff game, it gives me a little bit of concern for this season. But going forward, I am very confident in our wide receiver room because of the talent that is there.
I actually have a really good take on this. So okay. I do think the wide receiver room takes a step back next year, but I think production will actually be better next year.
Yes.
So, and the reason, and I know, like, to some people that maybe don't think this way, but like that kind of sounds contradicting, but that's not. Like, I think I'd rather have the wide receiver room this year, but the problem is Nico is a redshirt freshman playing in his first season as a starter. You're seeing the overthrows. You're seeing a little bit of inaccuracies. You're seeing the mistakes. Guys, what did Hendon Hooker do in his second year as the starter for Tennessee? So think about what Nico's doing in his first season. Yeah, it's not pretty, right? But it's getting the job done. Now, can you imagine what he's going to do next year in his second full year as the guy and just at that much more confidence going in? He could honestly work with Brett, walk-on wide receivers, doing what Carson Beck's doing, and I still think that the production of the room still actually may end up being better next year. I really am confident in that.
And look, you had a watcher on your TikTok live earlier say Nico for Heisman. Both of us said not this year, maybe next year though. Because
maybe next year, you gotta stay healthy.
Look, if he does have that big jump like what Hendon Hooker did from year 1 to year 2, absolutely, Nico could be a Heisman candidate for next year. We just gotta he's just got to get comfortable. I mean, there's only so much that he can do in his first year in the system. Because, I mean, you've got to, I guess technically it's his second year in the system, but first year as a starter, right. You're going to take your lumps.
Yeah. Richard from the YouTube, man, thank you so much for watching. We have 2 weeks to get better. Go Big Orange. I mean, we got 3. All right, easy 3 or 2.5, I guess. I don't know. What is it? The first round is December 20th?
I believe so. I believe it's the week after the Army Navy game.
It's like the 20th, 21st, or whatever, the Friday, Saturday. So, yeah, definitely got championship week coming up this week, and then we've got 2 weeks after that to absolutely get better. I'm just so happy that we're going into Christmas knowing that we got something to go. I mean, man. But, there was one thing that was in our way, and that was Vanderbilt. And this team got punched in the freaking mouth immediately by this upset, hungry Vanderbilt. I mean, I love the memes that were coming out saying that we were fighting over custody of Alabama. That was great. That was awesome. And then the meme afterwards was that we won custody. But Tennessee, man, they settled in. They really, you see Nico now. Like, Nico has 8 touchdowns, passing touchdowns the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Are we hitting our stride at the right time?
I really hope so. It looks that way. Now, you can have people sit here and say, well, no, they're not hitting their stride. You went down freaking 14-0 to Vanderbilt. Yeah, but look at the way they responded. And look at the way they dominated the rest of the game after going down 14-0 in the game.
As Hypo calls it, competitive composure.
Yeah, exactly.
I call it resilience, but yes.
And I feel like Tennessee teams of the past would not have been able to respond the way that the team did yesterday. I absolutely think this team is hitting their stride at the right time. And I believe I said it the week before Georgia that I felt like we were hitting our stride. And, we talked about it Georgia week. Tennessee did not play bad in that game. They played good enough to win. You just met a Georgia team that literally hit on all cylinders that entire game, did not make any mistakes in the game, and Georgia could have beaten anybody.
You met Carson Beck's best 3.5 quarters of football. Like that.
Exactly.
What do you do? And if you don't believe me, look at how they looked against Georgia Tech the very next one. I mean, he literally just played his absolute best against Tennessee. And that is, but the problem is when you go in the playoff, you're going to get everybody's best. So you're going to have to be able to take that and be able to answer. And I think, on a neutral field, like if we are able to make it past that first round at home, hopefully, I do think we'll get the home host. You're going to have to be able to go on that neutral site and be able to play to your best. But I think that's going to help us out more than anything. If we can get that first round home game to where we don't, because, I mean, man, our team at home is just a completely different team. We've lost one game in the last 3 seasons at home, Josh Heupel has, and that was to Georgia last year. I mean, this team is really good at home. I feel confident no matter who we end up facing in that first round, as long as we have that home game. Richard, yes, we hear you. Wait, I thought I seen a comment earlier, but maybe not. Maybe not. I completely, I digress. Nicole says, I think so. If we could start off playing all 4 quarters instead of 3, teams of past would have given up. I agree. Yeah, I mean, the way this game started was very reminiscent of South Carolina.
Yeah. I will say this to Nicole's point here. We have yet to see Tennessee play a full 4 quarters.
And I think that's why you're seeing Josh Heupel in these press conferences, like, kind of giddy in a way, because he's like, dude, our best is still yet to come. And he's not wrong. I really don't think he's wrong. He's just not seen it yet.
Yeah, I think yesterday's game was the closest that we have seen to Tennessee playing 4 full quarters, because you take away, we've mentioned it, the first 6 minutes of the game. And the rest of the 54 minutes, Tennessee absolutely dominated. They played the best that they have played all season long, really. So yeah, I really think that the best is yet to come, because they hadn't put together a full 4 quarters.
Justin talking about, that nightmare of Georgia, how good they were against us. It was because of that Ole Miss loss that got them hyped up. Probably not wrong there.
Did I not say that?
Probably not wrong. I mean, yeah. But, Lane Kiffin stuck it to us on that week because he beat them just to piss them off. But, Lane Kiffin then proceeded to lose the very next week, and it was great. It's fine. It's fine. No, any other takeaways from this game? I loved what I seen from the defense, flying around the ball. Obviously, their tight end, Stowers, you really didn't hear a lot from him. That was kind of their number one playmaker. Misty and Michael, thank you so much for liking the show on Facebook. We appreciate you. Chip Dooley has done the same, actually. Thank you, Chip, for liking the show on Facebook. We appreciate you. Continue to share the show. It's me. Mom's going to call the coach. All right. We appreciate you tuning in. I don't know what that means. Joseph says, I know y'all would be biased, but other than y'all, who do y'all think's the next best SEC? I don't think Tennessee's the best. I don't think Tennessee's the best.
Now, look, if you had asked me before we played Georgia, I would have said, yes, Tennessee's the best team in the SEC, because they had played more consistent than everybody else had to that point. Now, Tennessee is not. I still think, and Justin, plug your ears, I think Georgia is the best team in the SEC.
I disagree wholeheartedly. And this is what Texas is. Texas going into College Station. Texas going into College Station and handling that environment proved to me that they've done something that no other SEC team has been able to do all season long.
That's fair.
They have not been able to go into a hostile environment on the road and handle business. Texas did. And honestly, let's be real honest here. That game was a lot closer score-wise than I feel like that game was. Texas turned the ball over like 3 times in the freaking red zone, or else it would have been 31-0. Because one of the freaking turnovers was a pick 6. That's the only way Texas A&M scored. I mean, Texas dominated that game, and they went into a hostile environment of like 110,000 male cheerleaders doing their hoo-ha and hooing, and like they handled it like champs, honestly. Now, I know that was probably one of the best versions of Texas you're going to get, but if they can get that version for the rest of the season, I do feel like they're one of the best teams.
Yeah,
and Justice Judge Michael.
Look, I don't necessarily disagree, but at the same time, I don't know if I can go against Georgia until they prove to me that they're not the best in the SEC.
So Go Big Orange says South Carolina. What are your thoughts on South Carolina?
South Carolina is not the best in the SEC.
I don't. Yeah, I agree with that.
But I think they're 4th. I think it is Georgia. I think it's Texas, Tennessee, and then South Carolina.
Yep. Tennessee football 247, longtime listener. He tunes back in and says, "Hi, how we doing, man?" It's good to have you back. He says, I think we should be ranked 6th when the college football playoff rankings come out Tuesday night. That would be fair considering Miami and Ohio State lost. However, just remember, we will not be seeded 6. We will probably be seeded 8.
But you know what? We'll get into all of that.
Which is still a home playoff game.
Yeah. We'll get into all of that here in a few minutes when we go to segment 2. But let's wrap this up real quick. One thing I do have to say that concerns me going forward, but has been a concern the whole time under Josh Heupel. That is the penalties. Tennessee definitely needs to clean things up when it comes to
especially
penalties.
Defensively. Yes, I
understand.
I agree with that.
I understand that you want to get to the quarterback, but sometimes you got to play disciplined because you're better than 90%. I would even say 95% of the offensive lines that you're going to go up against in the country. So just stay disciplined and you're going to get home. You don't have to have that extra second and risk getting an offsides penalty. But other than that, man, Tennessee dominated. They took care of business, and I am very excited going forward to what we're going to see when these 12-team playoffs start.
Last takeaway, I screenshotted a lot of all fans' tweets in that first quarter. Y'all ain't fans. Y'all are not fans. Y'all are a disgrace to the sport. Y'all are terrible. I don't know why y'all do it. And then it's really funny when the folks go back and delete it.
Yeah.
Buddy, I already screenshotted it. Fire Josh Heupel came out in the first quarter against Vanderbilt. Buddy has won 30 games in the last 3 seasons as your head coach, and y'all really wanted to fire him because they returned a kickoff? Dude, wow. Like, our fans, those fans, terrible. Honestly, will never invite you to have a beer. You're a disgrace. But the ones that stayed there was comments under those, and I'll give credit where credit's due. There was some commenters under there, and I laughed at all of them because it was like, man, I love how y'all always post this every week, and yet we still beat them by 3 touchdowns, and we almost did that, and it would have been crazy if he actually caught it because at one point we were up by like 20 points, and then they got the late touchdown, which kind of stung a little bit. I hated that we gave up another one, but prevent defense, great. But the fans, I literally almost had to cut off my phone yesterday, and it wasn't because I was embarrassed that we were down 14-0. It was because our own fans were just acting stupid on socials. And I get it. Those aren't real fans, but like it still got to me because it was every post that I'm seeing. And at the end of the day,
there is a reason that when Tennessee is on playing, I stay off of social media. One, because I'm afraid that I would post something that I want to delete later. Just in the heat of the moment.
I did it, but it wasn't with Tennessee. It was with a couple other teams.
Yeah, but just in the heat of the moment, I would probably post something that I want to take down. But also because you see all of these fans or quote fans that are just posting things like that whenever it happens.
That's right. Nicole said yes, stupid penalties and being offsides. Offsides is the worst one. That's gotten you 3 weeks in a row. Like, what is going on with this? Literally, the offsides penalty is what got Carson Beck going.
Yes.
And you would have thought we would have learned from that moment, but no, it's almost like we've not even talked about that. Like, that's what this coaching staff really needs to target, is not allowing these offenses that we're going against to have those free plays. That is very frustrating. Now, I will say this. There was one offsides on James Pierce, was not an offsides. That right guard absolutely false started, but because James Pierce got such a good jump, they called it offsides. But like, you even seen James Pierce in the game, he's sitting there pointing I literally went on him, and he was right on that one. But still, you got to watch the ball. Let's see, Joseph. I'm a Texas fan, and if we can get that defense from here on out and stop turning the ball over, we'd be hard to beat. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yep,
I agree wholeheartedly with that, Joseph. I think you're the best team in the nation if you can do that. The problem is just like everybody else and every team in the nation, you just haven't been able to do that week in and week out. Like, it is what it is, man. Honestly, Texas's only loss is to Georgia. Now, their schedule kind of set up to be like that, which is why I was always focused on this game in College Station. But the way y'all handled that, I'm telling you, a whole nother level of respect from me. Whole nother level. Nicole said, I'd love to have another 98 season, but I know it's not going to happen. I'm happy with the way we're headed. No, look, Nicole, this is a 2007. this is a 2007 season. This is a 2007 season in which you haven't lost the SEC championship game yet. Thanks, Eric Ainge. Sorry. This is this is a 2007 season, and the fact that anybody can beat anybody. All right, Oregon, yes, they're undefeated, but guys, they have flaws too. All right. Joseph says can't turn the ball over against Tennessee and the Georgias. I agree because those teams make you pay for it, right?
Yeah.
And pretty much any team that's going to be in the playoff, outside from maybe the problem is the playoff's not going to have the best 12 teams. It's going to have like the best 7, and then it's weird. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine, dude.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Last thing that I have on this one, a shout out to Dylan Sampson, breaking yet another school record. He
All
is
time.
now the single season rushing yards career leader at Tennessee. Still searching for the career touchdowns record. He's still 2 away from that. That was the only thing in the game, and they did try. They tried so hard to get Dylan Sampson that touchdown of the final drive. Unfortunately, he went down, got hurt, and Heupel was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to risk it." So, ended up kicking a field goal on that drive, but that was the only thing in the game was Dylan Sampson not getting a touchdown. The only game this season he has not scored a touchdown in, by the way. So
I agree. Yeah, Nicole brings up a good point. Like she's just saying like you can't call to fire a coach every time things start to look bad.
Unless you're Ohio State and Ryan Day losing four straight times to Michigan.
47. Okay. This is off topic, and we're going to be moving on to the next segment here. Big win for the Vols, but 47-1 against every other team, not that team up north, and they're 1-4 against them. Like that is 1-4 and lost 4 in a row. Like that's pretty wild. Unless you're Kentucky, though, they need to get rid of that guy. They need to get rid of that guy. Look, okay, but that's a good point. You know, let's say next year. I don't want to say this, but like, what if we go 8-4 and that's like the sky is falling when that used to be the sky high for us? I mean, yes, I agree. I think you can't just fire Heupel because he had a underwhelming season because you got to look at where he's had this team, and I agree with it. You can't just go and call to fire a coach because where are you going to get one? Like, who are you going to go to?
That's the thing. Where are you going to go to get coaches nowadays? So, what
record did he break? Consecutive games with a fumble? Oh, we're being smart aleckish on the show. I like it. No, he broke the all-time. Is it the single season?
It was the single season record for rushing yards.
1,460 something. I can't remember what the actual number was.
Yeah, I wonder.
But he beat it by just a couple of yards, didn't he? I think it was by like 10 or 20 yards. He beat it by.
Yeah, I wonder if he actually reached 1,500. I'm looking that up real quick. 1485 is what he
1485
after the
so
game.
He'll definitely have it in the playoff. Or yeah, I mean we're making the playoff. That's not a problem. The question is, do we host? But we're gonna wrap this thing up. We're actually gonna talk about that in the next segment. You want to go ahead? Actually, it's my turn, ain't it? It's my turn. I'll let y'all guys know who the segment 2 sponsor is, and that is P&L Business Services. We know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business services right is critical. That's why at P&L Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love most, which is building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. Guys, if y'all want to reach out and see if this is something for you, you can reach out to them at go to their website, pnlbusinessservices.com. It's as easy as that, and they can get you taken care of. Thank you so much for supporting our show since day one, really. Let's see.
You know what?
Let's talk about. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say let's start off with kind of what we've done over the last couple of weeks with how many teams from each conference we think will get in.
Oh, this is gonna be kind of hot take-ish.
And let's start with the ACC.
Okay.
All right, the ACC, and this is all dependent on who wins the conference title game. Because if SMU wins, I think that the ACC gets one team, and that is SMU. If Clemson wins, I think they get 2 because I think that a 2-loss SMU is in along with Clemson.
Okay.
What say you?
Yeah, I'm sitting here. I was pulling up the AP ranking because the AP and the CFP are similar. We're starting out with the ACC.
Yep.
I think with the Clemson loss, man, it's a one big lead. I think it's a one big lead. Obviously, SMU, if they win, then that's the bid. If Clemson wins, I don't think SMU stays in. Is that fair, or does that go exactly against what you just said?
I mean, I personally think SMU should be in.
Okay, so at that point they'd be 11-2, losing to Clemson, who just lost to South Carolina. You think that's deserved? SMU, what other wins do they have on their schedule?
But
BYU, they lost to BYU, didn't they?
That's their one loss is BYU. Now it doesn't look quite as good now because BYU's kind of fell off the table. But 2 weeks ago, your only loss was to an undefeated BYU, and then your second loss would be in the conference title game to a team that is still in the top 25 in Clemson. Yeah. And then when you look at SMU's schedule, and I'll have to get it pulled up here, but I believe they have beaten like 4 top 25 opponents this year, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. SMU.
Go Big Orange says, glad you Giles County boys are doing the show. Big Vol Daddy was my go-to on Tennessee Talk. So, yeah, glad y'all are doing this. Yeah. It's tragic what we heard about BVD passing away. It's, it is what it is. That's it's not easy. But Vol Daddy, not Big Vol Daddy, but Vol Daddy's helped me out a lot. He's a really cool guy. Luke Jackson on Facebook, he's helped me out. And then, obviously, man, we just do this because we love. We're fans, man. We ain't insiders. We just like to talk ball, and we like doing it with you guys. Y'all make the show a lot more fun. We did this show for a year and a half now, pretty close. Well, a year and a couple months. That first 6 months, and we had the same 3 commenters, and I appreciate those guys, and they know who they are. But isn't it? It's a lot more fun. We got 10, 15 people in the chat box, and we get to talk to everybody here, and we're just talking ball, man. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in and helping us out and grow our channel. But we do this for the love of it.
And we try to get to comments, no matter what we're talking about, but especially in this segment. If y'all have got any teams that y'all think should be in or teams that you want our thoughts on, something like that, comment it in and we'll talk about it. I mean, that's what this segment is all about.
Speaking of, should Georgia get in if they lose to Texas?
Yes.
You can't punish somebody for making it the conference championship and punish them out of the playoff if they're already in it. Georgia is in it at the moment.
Okay, is that not what SMU is right now, though? They're in it. But if they lose to Clemson, should they not still be in it?
I see you using words against me, and I hate you for that. But no, it's not. I shouldn't have to tell you this, but SMU and the SEC and Georgia and Texas is not the same. I don't care what you think.
I mean, fair.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
I agree, but I mean, is the committee going to look at it that way?
Yes. Why is SMU not ranked number 3 right now at 11-1?
Honestly, they probably should be.
But they're not. It doesn't matter what they should be. They should be in the playoff, of course, but they're not going to be if they lose to Clemson. And I would agree with it, honestly. If they lose to Clemson, they should not be in. And
I think it depends on how the game looks.
All right. I'll give you that, I guess.
All right. So ACC, we're saying 1-2, more than likely 1, right?
I guess my biggest thing, dude, if Georgia loses to Texas, they'd be losing to the number 2 ranked team in the country. If SMU loses to Clemson, they'd be losing to the 18th team in the country. You can't penalize a team for losing to a team that is above them already, right? You can't penalize them as hard as you penalize another team for losing a team that's ranked 10 spots below you. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just me. All right.
Yeah.
Either way. So
we'll
ACC,
after this next one.
So ACC, you're saying 2. I'm saying 1.
Okay. Let's just go ahead and throw Notre Dame because Notre Dame is in. All right.
Yep.
Big 12, it's obvious. It is whoever wins the Big 12 conference. Just one team.
Yep, it is a one bid league, 100%. Which that's kind of fascinating. If it's going to be Iowa State or Arizona State, that's a. Is that the matchup you thought you were going to be seeing in the preseason? Because it's not for me.
No,
but I didn't think Colorado would be top for first either. But here we are.
I didn't either, and I definitely did not see Oklahoma State being dead last, not even winning a conference game.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was not on my bingo card.
Go Big Orange says, I just don't want to see Tennessee playing SEC school first round. I want Ohio State. Heck, I would love to see Tennessee play. All right, you had me in the first half. No, you had me in the first half. You had me in the first half. No, look, he goes on to say he would, would like to see Tennessee go to South Bend and play Notre Dame. But no, I don't want to see that at all. And it's not because I'm scared of Notre Dame. I just don't want to go. I don't want to go to South Bend, dog. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think you're going to see that. I don't think you're going to see like this last week. And it's because there was still some movement to go, and we've seen that movement happen. But you've seen a Big Ten matchup, and you've seen an SEC matchup in the first round. I'm glad they did it then, because then they showed, okay, they're at least honoring where you're ranked and where you should be seated. But they did it then because now they can change those rankings, and it doesn't look like they tried to fix it to make it look like they were trying to avoid those issues. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that's going to happen. We're probably going to either be playing Ohio State, or I think I did say Texas. I think we'd either be going to Austin, Texas, or we'd be hosting Ohio State. And my prediction, it could be either way, but you have to punish the SEC loser somehow. You just can't knock them out of the playoff. If it's Georgia, they're ranked 6th right now, I guess, right now, or maybe even 5th. I think it's 6th. But if we're 6th, they'd be 5th in the Associated Press. So
Georgia is 5th in the AP right now. Tennessee is 6th.
Yeah. So if Georgia were to lose, they drop to like 9 or 10 to Texas. But I think because it's conference championship, they're not gonna drop that hard. I think it's gonna be like 8 or 9. So either way, it is what it is. We're a long way from that. But what's the next one? We got ACC, Big 12. We got Big 10, maybe.
Well, I was gonna go Group of 5 first.
Oh,
and
well, I mean, those are
it's just going to be one because it's interesting because if Tulane had beaten Memphis this past week, they would be sitting probably around 15th, 16th, somewhere like that, because they were 17th last week.
Yeah.
And then if they won the conference title game against Army this weekend, they could have a shot of jumping the Big 12 or the ACC champion.
According to Heather Dinich, they were going to push out the Big 12 entirely, which would have been wild because, as they said, just because you're a conference champion doesn't guarantee you a spot in the playoff. Exactly. You still have to be the highest ranked conference champion. And there's way more conferences than just 5.
Yeah, and that's what I was explaining to you a few weeks ago. There was a shot that the Big 12 was going to be left out.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Now it doesn't look that way. It looks like the Big 12 will be in because, Boise State is in the top 10 right now. I think they're ranked number 10 after today's rankings came out.
Boise State in the AP is ranked 10th, right above Alabama at 11.
So the next highest ranked Group of 5 team is Army at 24, meaning whoever wins in the Big 12 or in the ACC should get in if they win, which would leave the American Conference champion out. So I do think that the Group of 5 is one bid now with Boise State.
I agree.
Or UNLV. Agree.
Yeah, I mean the winner of. So yes. So the Group of 5. You want to go SEC next?
Yeah, we'll go SEC.
Because the Big Ten's it's guaranteed pretty much 4.
Yeah, it's 4. So let's see. We got Notre Dame. That's 1. ACC. I said 2. But we'll go with yours at 1 right now. So ACC at 1. Notre Dame.
I've been keeping up for both of them, so that's fine.
Yeah. So Big 12 at 1. Group of 5 at 1. Big 10 at 4. So that leaves you at 8 teams. Am I correct there?
If the Big 10 gets 4, which is what we're saying.
Yep.
That leaves.
Interesting question.
Oh, my bad. Siri is not supposed to be listening. That leaves 4. That leaves 4 teams in the SEC. If we did the one ACC, but that's going to be the thing, bro. Is it going to be the second ACC school, or is it going to be you pick your poison with Alabama, South Carolina, or Ole Miss, and you hear it from the teams that get,
All right,
because there's no right answer. There is no right answer between Alabama. I don't think it's Alabama. I don't think Alabama should be ranked that way. Dude, they lost to Oklahoma, and they just like slapped them on the wrist. Like,
yeah. So all right, so let's talk about it for a minute. We think it is guaranteed. It's guaranteed Notre Dame is in. That's one.
Notre Dame's in.
The ACC is getting one, being the conference champion. Yeah, yes. Guaranteed one. Same thing with the Big 12. They're guaranteed one. And the group of 5 is guaranteed one.
Correct.
So you guarantee the Big 10 and the SEC get one apiece. That's 6. And the Big 10 is probably going to get those 4. Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, and Indiana. So that's a total of 9 teams.
Yeah, there's no way they don't get those 4, because even if Penn State loses to Oregon, they're still in.
Yeah. So the SEC is going to get, in my opinion, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas in.
100%.
So let's compare the resumes of, because I'm going to say SMU wins the ACC. I think that they will beat Clemson.
I was going to say, then you're comparing, because now you've opened up a whole can, because now you have to include, let's see, Alabama, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Miami, and BYU?
Let's see.
No, not BYU.
No,
I'm adding too much to it.
Yeah, BYU's down at 17.
Well, I mean, they're down at 17, but Ole Miss is down at 15, but they've got just as good a resume as South Carolina or Alabama. Like, I'm telling you, the way they've ranked it is so that they don't have to come across this. They'll be like, well, we just put the next best, But in reality, man, Alabama's resume isn't any better than South Carolina's or Ole Miss's. It's just the fact that they've got the head-to-head over South Carolina, which, if you remember, was a home game for them against South Carolina. Yeah. South Carolina almost beat them. Like, they were a 2-point conversion. They were a 2-point conversion away from going into overtime with Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And then Alabama lost at Oklahoma by 3 touchdowns. Okay, that's the big difference. Like, people want to throw up the Arkansas loss to Tennessee. Okay, that's fine. We lost by 5 points. We lost a 1-possession game. We didn't get ran out. Like, it wasn't a blowout by any means. It was a close loss, right? That's why Penn State didn't get as damaged as they did from the loss from Ohio State. It was a touchdown game. Now, obviously that could look a little bit worse now, but let's see. Justin says USC over Bama and Ole Miss. He's talking about USC Junior. I don't want to give them any more credit than they deserve.
I think when you're comparing those 3 teams right there, I absolutely wholeheartedly agree that South Carolina should be in over Bama or Ole Miss.
Did Ole Miss get blown out by anybody? They had the worst list they had the worst loss, right? To
they
Kentucky.
Absolutely
they get blown out by anybody.
Let's see.
They didn't get blown out by anybody.
No, let me pull up there.
LSU, was that a multiple score game? They didn't get blown out by LSU.
No, that was a 1-score game.
So Kentucky, LSU, and then they lost to recently. Jesus Christ, why can't I think?
Florida.
So
their 3 losses. Their 3 losses are to Kentucky, and the thing about that one is that one was at home.
If you lost at home, yes, you don't deserve to be in the play. Yeah,
20-17. You lost on the road to LSU 29-26, and you lost on the road at Florida 24-17. So you didn't get blown out, but that home loss to Kentucky looms large.
So, and I'm not just saying this as a Tennessee fan, but I think the order should go South Carolina, Ole Miss, then Alabama.
All right, I'm actually going against my original one. South Carolina should be the last one because Ole Miss does have the head-to-head over South Carolina as well, and so does Alabama.
Yeah, South Carolina's 2 losses are to Alabama and South Carolina or Ole Miss. Okay,
but here's got 3 losses. The third one being to LSU.
A&M, LSU. Okay, so the same loss that Ole Miss has. That's fine. Here's my thing, though. So you're telling me at that point, it's hard because that means South Carolina has better losses than they do, right? And I get it. It's kind of stupid to say it like that. But
So we also talked about Ole Miss losing at home. That Ole Miss game against South Carolina was at home for South Carolina, and they got blown out 27-3.
Yeah. So that's a bad loss too. Dude, I'm telling you, you're splitting hairs. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're splitting hairs. But here's what I will say. Losing by 24 points to Ole Miss, to me, is more excusable. It's at home, though. I was going to say, it's a little bit more excusable than losing by 21 to Oklahoma, who just got blown out by LSU.
All right, here. So when we're looking at the losses, Alabama should probably get in over those other two because their 3 losses are on the road. It is 40-35 at Vanderbilt, 24-17 at Tennessee, 24-3 at Oklahoma.
They lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, but all right.
No, there is no but, dog. Vanderbilt's not good. They're not.
Fair.
They're not good.
Neither is Kentucky.
They beat the teams that they beat because teams were sleeping on them. 100%. That's all it was. Diego Pavia did make some plays. I got to give him credit. And Vanderbilt's not a good team. They're not. I'm tired of people acting like they are. Like, I'm not a fan out here screaming, "Oh, we got a good win over Vanderbilt." Like, that's not coming out of my freaking mouth.
All right, so let's look at...
Justin says those last 2 or 3 spots in the playoff will be the hardest pick. Someone will be upset no matter how. Yes, that is 100% true, but that's how it's going to be no matter if you have a 4 team, a 12 team, or a 16 team. Like, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be like this for those final 2 or 3 spots.
Yep. I do
think
that picking it for a 12 team or a 16 team playoff, though, is a lot better than picking it for a 4 team.
They need to get rid of the auto bids. It is stupid. It is so stupid. Like, are we really trying to put the best product on the field? Or are we just trying to make teams feel good for, I don't know. Like, I'm all for a team like SMU, which they're in the ACC now, so that's not a good example. Okay, I'm all for Boise State getting in the playoff. But, boy, you got to look like a good team. Like, you can't just get there because you're the best of the competition you're playing. Like, to me, I think that is garbage. I think they are too, Michael. I'm making a damn point here.
I know.
I'm saying, like if Boise State goes 10-2, but they win their conference, that shouldn't mean that they're in the playoff.
All right, so use Tulane, for instance, then. Tulane, I don't think, can compete with the teams that are in the top 12. And honestly, they proved it they got beat pretty bad by Memphis this past week. So I don't think that team should automatically get in. I think Boise should get in, especially this year, the way that they have looked. Their 1 loss on the season was on a walk-off field goal to Oregon.
Yeah. Nicole asked a question. Why not use the old BCS formula? Because they're trying to humanize the selection part. They're trying, like, the whole committee thing, having 12 or 13 people in a room and they can argue about it. Like, they're trying to make it to where it's not just all about numbers, because that's how you kind of get some skewed results, I guess.
But you know what? I feel like there was less drawback with the BCS formula than it is with the human side of it.
I think that's true, but I think it's because they knew that they couldn't really fight it. Like, and that was also back when people were just as happy about, well, not maybe just as happy, but they were, for all intents and purposes, they were proud to be in a Sugar Bowl back then.
Yeah.
Where now it's like, oh, we're in the Sugar Bowl? Like, dang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. We're going to have 13,000 opt-outs and we're going to go, like, it's just, it's a completely different era of football. So,
yeah. But so we looked at the losses for those teams. Let's look at their best wins. For Alabama, you have got a win at home against Georgia and a win on the road at LSU. They've got 3 ranked wins this year. So it's at home against Georgia, at LSU, and a blowout victory, mind you, 42-13. That does weigh a little bit. And then a dominant victory at home against Missouri, 34-0. All right, South Carolina, if my computer would quit popping up ads. All right, South Carolina's best wins this year.
Clemson.
You have got a win at home against Texas A&M, a dominant win at home.
That's a good win.
44-20.
That's a good win.
You have got a home win against Missouri, 34-30.
Not a good win.
and a road win against number 12 Clemson, 17-14.
That's a good win. People are going to scoff and say that me not saying that Missouri's not a good win. I'm just saying Missouri's not a good team. Like, they're overranked. They've been overrated all year long. Alabama kind of proved that. So,
yeah.
In this stance, they've got it right. South Carolina, in my opinion, has the most underwhelming. I know you haven't really gone through Ole Miss's yet, but I do feel like South Carolina does kind of have the more underwhelming results, maybe.
Yeah.
Green Wave comes in. We appreciate you, Green Wave, for being on the show, man. Thank you so much. The committee's job is to make the CFP as profitable as possible. Now, obviously, those are a lot of conspiracy theories, but I disagree. I disagree hardly, because if that was the case, should have been no problem putting Tennessee in.
Yeah.
Tennessee's going to bring in more money than a lot of other programs.
Yeah,
a lot of other programs.
I agree.
Between viewership, between travel, like we travel, we're stupid. Like, we might live in a single wide trailer, by God, but we're going to spend more on a freaking football ticket than we do on our vehicle. Like, that's just who we are. Like, I don't know. Maybe not. I just think that, like, if that were the case, Tennessee would be more of a loved program than a hated one in the eyes of the committee. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So Ole Miss, their best wins.
Green Wave does bring up a good point here.
Okay.
They almost lost. I mean, that really counts, because Georgia almost lost to Georgia Tech and almost lost to Kentucky, and so I mean, at the end of the day, they got to win. A win's a win. That's what Georgia's saying. Georgia screaming that when they got done with their game against Georgia Tech. They walked in the locker room just immediately. A win is a win.
All right. Ole Miss wins their best wins this year. You got the win. You got the win at home against Georgia, in which you dominated the game, 28-10. You've got take your pick of Arkansas on the road, 63-31. Oklahoma at home, 26-14. Or South Carolina on the road, 27-3. Mind you,
it'd be South Carolina at that point.
None of those were ranked wins at the time either. South Carolina was not ranked at the time that Ole Miss beat them.
Well, it should matter if the team is ranked now and they got the win over, because that shows that the team has been better since then. As much as I want to sit there and beat a drum that says, hey, Tennessee's got 4 ranked wins because we beat NC State and Oklahoma and blah, blah, like that to me doesn't really hold as much juice as it does when, a team is now currently ranked after you beat them, because that shows that they still won games after the fact.
But and I completely get your argument there. But if you're going to say that you can't make that argument for, Tennessee beat 4 ranked teams this year because NC State's no longer ranked and whoever else is no longer ranked anymore, I don't think you can say, well, we beat South Carolina when they were unranked, but they're ranked now, so that win looks a lot better. I don't think that you could have both sides of it. You see what I'm saying there?
So how do you determine what's a ranked win?
You have to. I think you have to determine it at the time that it happened.
I agree, because then I agree with that, because then that means that the rankings do matter when they come out. Because
yes,
that would. How do I want to say this? That would be like you discredit the rankings the first 2 months of the year or the season, because, like, at the end of the day, like, the AP is the AP, and that's the ranking, right? So if they chose to put NC State in the rankings at the time that we played them, and then we beat them like a drum, they were wrong. Yes. They were wrong. Exactly. That shouldn't have been our fault, right? So I agree with that 100%. John, we appreciate you. Nico is trash, and without Pierce and Sampson next year, it's going to be a rough year.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
John, I appreciate you being on the show, brother, and we all have opinions, and that is definitely your opinion. We attract all commenters in here, so we appreciate you. But Nicole even says that Tennessee would bring in more money than someone like SMU. Yeah, exactly.
So real quick, because we kind of spent a long time on the 3 SEC teams, and we'll discuss this more next week when we kind of know who will be in. But
the only way the 2 ACC, because this is where you're going, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it would have to be if Clemson wins, and then you're picking hairs between SMU and Clemson. No, SMU
What?
and Miami.
But
it would be SMU over Miami. Miami's out.
But are we sure about that?
Yes, Miami's out.
If SMU wins,
Miami should have had like 4 losses this year.
And I'm not going to disagree with you, but that's where the comparison comes in. Does the committee look at a 10-2 Miami and put them in over a 9-3 SEC team? Do I think that they should? No, because Miami does not have a single ranked win this year. They have got a bad loss to Georgia Tech in which they were honestly dominated for the majority of the game. The score was a lot closer than what that game actually showed. And then a loss on the road to Syracuse in which you led 21-0 in the first quarter, and Syracuse came back and won.
Miami's
so
out.
I think that they should be. But
They're
is
out.
the committee going to put them in over a 9-3 SEC team? I think that they might.
No, I think what the committee will do is put Alabama over Miami. Like if it comes down to it. Like I think that's what they will do. Chance says, I missed the earlier part of the show, how the parlays do. I'm glad you asked, brother. I lost a lot of money. Not really a lot, but I lost a lot of what I could have won. That's the way I'm going to put it. I had a lot of money up for grabs. I didn't win any of it, but that's okay because I did it for the boys. Like that's how we do it. All right. That emotional hedge bet worked to absolute perfection. If Clemson blows them out, then SMU is out.
And Justin, this is what I was getting at earlier. It depends on how the game goes. If Clemson wins a close game, I think SMU gets in as the second ACC team. Or sorry, SMU gets in as the second ACC team. But absolutely, if Clemson blows them out, SMU is out.
It's me says Vol fans bring their own homemade drinks. The bars take a hit. Okay,
that has nothing to do with the money bringing in for the playoffs. Nothing.
But
whatsoever.
Parking's at an all-time high because we at least show up. Okay, like that's fine. Yeah, I think Miami's out. I think SMU could get in. I don't think SMU gets in with the loss to Clemson. I think losing to Clemson is a bad enough loss for an ACC team that doesn't have a great strength of schedule, okay? I don't think SMU would then have enough juice to stay in over a 3-loss team from the SEC that has way better wins, that has somewhat better losses, but not really because it would be Alabama who has some terrible losses. But you get my point here, right? Yeah. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think if SMU loses to Clemson, ACC, I think ACC is a 1-bid league. Like this is not really even is it really a discussion?
I think it is a discussion.
It is a discussion. It is a discussion. But it's a 1-bid league, man. I guess the only way, and I guess you're right on this. I guess the only way is if it's a 1-possession game or if it's an overtime game, and SMU you got screwed by the refs or something. I don't know, but man, they're already ranked low enough. Them being at ranked at 8th. Man, if they lose, typically 5 is the rule of thumb. If you lose and you're a top 10 team, like you're dropping 5 spots. That would put them at 13 or 12. I'll put them at 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. Carry the 1, fold up the other. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm just saying, like it'd be close. I don't know, man. I think ACC is a 1-bid league, and it's no fault of their own. They still control their own destiny. Don't lose.
Yeah, ultimately, I think it is a 1-bid league because I think SMU wins the game. So,
if Miami didn't lose this week, I would disagree. I would say, no, they're a 2-bid league.
Yeah, it's a 2-bid league because,
even if SMU loses to Miami, Miami would be a top 5 team. Like, you see what I'm saying there? So you can't punish it. It would be just the same rules as Big Ten and SEC there. Like,
all right, but if SMU beat Miami, then would Miami drop out?
No, they weren't because SMU's a top 10 team. No, Miami would flip because obviously SMU would then take that number 4 seed. Miami would drop from 5 to 10 or 11 in the seedings. I think they would definitely be on the road. They would definitely be on the road traveling somewhere.
I think once again it would still all depend on how the game was played.
Maybe I agree, but I'm just saying, with Miami losing this week, screw the ACC.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I do think that there's more discussion than just ACC is a 1-bid league. That's it.
Yeah. I just hate the thought of a 3-loss team getting in.
Yeah.
But I respect a 3-loss team from the SEC more than I respect a 2-loss team from an ACC. That's just
I also agree with that.
so. Especially if it's a team like, I guess in Alabama's case, all 3 of their losses came on the road. However, I do feel like Alabama's the most wild card team, bro. Like, you could get the absolute worst team one week from Alabama and then get like one of the really best teams from Alabama the next. At least that's a hard discussion between South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Alabama, man. I do think one of them will get in, and that's just the hard truth.
You know what? And one thing we didn't even discuss, and honestly, we don't have time for it, the eye test. Because if you're going by the eye test, South Carolina, hands down, they're the best.
Do they, though?
Out of those? Yeah, I think when you look at the eye test as of lately, because that's what the eye test would be, how they're playing lately, they're far and away the better team out of Ole Miss and Alabama.
Well, I swear the moment Jalen Milroe takes a rushing touchdown for like more than 30 yards, everybody on ESPN is like, oh my God, it's just look at that. Look at that. That is Heisman caliber Milroe right there. I don't know where it was last week, but he's back. So Alabama's top 10 team. Bama might be a top 10 team in the seeding.
Speaking of which, did you see the graphic that was pulled up last night when they showed quarterbacks that have rushed for at least 18 touchdowns in the last however many years? It was like Tebow and shoot, I can't remember now. But it was 3 different quarterbacks that they pulled up there with Jalen Milroe. And it said all of these have won the Heisman. Yeah, I'm sorry, but Jalen Milroe is not winning the Heisman with the way he's played the majority of the year.
Nah, it is a 2-man race between Genty and Travis Hunter. Green Wave, back to our earlier point, said, yeah, talking about the money and us bringing our own mixed drinks, which I have done that before. Money comes from the eyes on the TV screens. When you've got 14 million people watching a regular season ball game, that's why the SEC signed a new deal with ABC, and it's for gazillions of dollars, because that's why it means so much to these teams being in the SEC, because just playing in the conference like Vanderbilt, they're getting $60 million a year just to play the season. Like that's the type of deals that they've been able to work out. Green Wave, you're 100% on the money there. Jacob Arthur said, y'all forget Georgia Tech is not trash. They played us 8 overtimes. No, that just means Georgia's trash. Thank you for. No, I'm joking.
No,
Georgia Tech's not bad. Haynes King is freaking solid, dude. Haynes
Yes.
King is solid, and he's been banged up all year. Georgia Tech could be a 10-2 team if it weren't for Haynes King getting hurt. Like, if he stays healthy all year, Georgia Tech could be that second bid for the ACC, but just hasn't been able to work out that way this year, and that's unfortunate. Honestly, Florida would be another really good team if it had not been for the quarterback issues. If they'd have figured that out sooner, who knows how good Florida could have beat us if they'd have figured it out a little bit sooner. The only reason why I kind of disagree with that take is because we did play GJ Lagway, and we did still win close. But 6 wins in a row, 4-1 on the road. Give me Cam Newton 2.0.
Talking about South Carolina there.
Yeah, Lenore Sellers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. So, and Justin talking about Alabama getting in. Yeah. Ryan Williams is still 17.
I thought it was funny because it was like the youngest player to lose 3 games in a season. Anyways, you just now got that one. All right, dude. Anyways, so
fantastic.
We appreciate you, brother. We appreciate all y'all. Great segment there. All in all, we're saying, all right, the guarantees. I hate saying guarantees, but guarantees. I'm not even going to say a team, but one from the ACC.
Yep.
Notre Dame.
Yep. Big 12. One
G5.
From the Group of 5.
SEC's getting 3 guarantees.
3 guarantees and 4
That's Tennessee,
guarantees.
Georgia, Texas.
Yep. 4 guarantees from the Big 10. And that is Ohio State,
That leaves
Oregon, Indiana, Penn State.
That leaves going into championship Saturday.
There's
everybody's
spot.
vying for one spot.
Yep.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild when you think about that. Yeah, like that's what more could you ask for, man? What more could you ask for?
But you know what? A great way to finish off the segment. Tennessee's one of those 11 teams that are guaranteed in.
And didn't have to play the SEC championship. Honestly,
exactly.
I mean, if I felt like we could win it, I'd want to play in it. I don't think we would win it this year. So give me Ohio State Neyland Stadium at round 1. Adam, my man, spitting bars out here. Like, that's exactly what I want to see.
You know
and if that happens, I'm pretty sure I'm going with my biological father's an Ohio State fan. So he was like, dude, if y'all come to Columbus or if we come to Knoxville, he's like, we're going. I'm like, fucking bet. Like, that's fine with me, dog. Like,
you know what? Give me that, because then we can have Eric on the show. Talk some ball, man.
That's right. Thoughts on forcing Notre Dame to join the conference? Honestly, they're getting punished as it is, because them not being in a conference, they can't have a first round bye. I do like that. I don't like the format in a whole, but I mean, forcing Notre Dame to join a conference, I mean, it's all a money thing to them. I don't know how you would be able to do that.
It won't happen because of the money that they're making.
Go Big Orange. All right, let's move on to our pick segment, man. Let's go.
Yep. So our segment 3 sponsor, it is Kaizen Painting. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate at kaizenpainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen way. So, with there only being one SEC game this weekend, being the conference championship game, we've decided to pick 6 conference championship games, those being the 4 from the Power 4 conferences, the Mountain West Conference title game, and then the American Conference title game, because those are the ones that still have shots at the playoffs, although we've kind of decided that the American is probably out with how the teams are ranked in the AP. So, first game of the weekend, it is the Mountain West Conference title game, UNLV versus Boise State. This is at 8 Eastern on Fox on Friday night.
This is a solid matchup.
And this is the second time these two teams have played this year. Boise won the first one by a touchdown.
I was going to say, this is a solid matchup. Genty versus UNILV. For the story of y'all that don't remember, the quarterback stopped playing after starting out 3-0, I think, because some deal didn't happen that he was promised. So he decided to take the red shirt and sit out. And UNILV said, you know what? We're good without you. And they have been. They have been good.
Boise State, a 3.5-point favorite in the game.
Does this take a hit on Genty's Heisman race if they don't win the game? If they're not in the playoff, if they don't win the game and they can't get the playoff?
I don't think he will. I think with how his because you all right, so you can ask kind of the same thing about Travis Hunter, because they're not in the Big 12 championship game. They don't have a shot at the playoffs. Does that take a shot or take a hit on his Heisman campaign?
The difference is Colorado can't play for one. Like, I don't know. Justin, Boise. Everybody says Smurfs win. Okay. No. So everybody agrees. Okay. So it's not going to take a hit. I'm going to go with Boise. I think Boise's been the hotter name. I think it's been a hotter brand. I think everybody kind of wants to see them in the playoff. Either way, they're going to be a visiting team. There's no way they could host, in my opinion. So give me Boise State. Everybody's going with Boise. It kind of scares me. I kind of wish I would have went.
So you've got Boise.
So Karen on YouTube. Let's see. Justin says no, but I don't. Yeah, he put in Boise. All right. So Nicole says Boise. Adam says Smurfs win. Y'all are absolutely welcome to comment along with us and make your picks.
So,
anyways.
So that game earlier was played at UNLV. This is a neutral site game. I want chaos. Give me UNLV in the game.
Attaboy.
All right. So the next one, this is also on Friday night. It is the American Championship game. It is Tulane going up against Army.
And unfortunately, this is not really a playoff game. Like this, I don't think that even the winner gets in. Oh, this is a hard one.
Tulane is a 4.5-point favorite in the game.
That makes sense. I was leaning Tulane, but I have a hard time picking against Army. But I picked first last time, so I'm gonna let you go first.
All right. Let's see here. So these two teams have not played this year. Give me Tulane in this game. I do think
Jimmy agrees.
it's going to be very, very close. I don't think this game ends up being like Tulane and Navy a couple weeks ago, in which Tulane won 35-0. I think this is a very close game. But give me Tulane in this game.
I just think it's a matchup. Like, I think Tulane has a better matchup against Army. Like, I want to agree with you, but I kind of want to keep our picks separate. Justin Shaw has liked the video on Facebook. Thank you, Justin. We appreciate you so much. I'm gonna do the same thing you did. I'm gonna choose Army, just kind of keep it different. Because I got some points to make up, man. I can't be tying you on these picks. But overwhelmingly, we got Army from Karen. We got Army from Justin. We got Army from Nicole. Okay. Jimmy says Tulane, though. He agrees with you.
I mean, I think it's gonna be a really good game.
I'm gonna take Army, and I feel a lot better about taking Army now. Like I've got the whole Army freaking chat over here. Like chat's going crazy. So yeah, Army, you got Tulane. I like it. All right, next game on the docket.
All right, first game of the day on Saturday. It is the Big 12 championship between Iowa State and Arizona State. It's at noon Eastern on ABC. The line,
this will be, unfortunately, a game for a bye week, dude. I hate that, dude. Yeah. I hate that so much.
The line in this one is Arizona State -2.5.
Arizona State -2.5. Give me Iowa State.
That's fine. I was going to pick Arizona State anyway, so
that's fine. Well, it was my turn to go first, so I was taking Iowa State. The black uniforms they wore last week were kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Karen agrees. Says Iowa State, the Cyclones, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Cyclones.
Arizona State from Justin. All right. Got a good mix here. Nicole says Iowa State could shake up if Arizona wins. I mean, maybe, but not really. I mean, this is pretty much just a guaranteed number 4 seed for this conference. Yes, guaranteed 4 seed, right? Because the G5 would be
actually it would be a guaranteed. It would just be a guaranteed spot. Now, Arizona State. All right, so this is
because Boise State's ranked higher.
Yes, so this is.
It would be really good to see if they're either going to be the 4 seed or literally the 12 seed. Like, I don't think there's going to be any mix. I don't think there's going to be an in between.
I don't know. It all depends on where Arizona State is actually ranked. So
Devils made a deal and win. I like that, Adam. I like that, Adam. I like it.
Yeah. So if Boise State wins and Arizona State wins, then Boise, because they're higher ranked, would get the 4 seed. But Arizona State, wherever they are ranked, is where they would be at that point because they're sitting at 12 right now. They're sitting exactly at 12, at least as far as the AP goes. We'll see where they're at in the college football playoff rankings come Tuesday night. But I think wherever they are at is where they will be. You follow what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I got you.
So if they're at 10th, that's where they will be in the playoff bracket.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right, we both disagreed again. I love that. That gives us like a reason to watch these games because I mean, otherwise, I probably wouldn't watch this one. But next one.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna watch it regardless because it's the only.
It's probably gonna be the only thing on. And high school football is wrapped. As we say, high school football is kind of wrapped up here. Obviously, state championship week is this week, so I mean that's gonna be cool. But it's not gonna be local. It's gonna be Middle Tennessee, so it's fine.
Yeah, actually, it's in Chattanooga.
Did they move to Chattanooga? It used to be Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, it's not at Tech anymore. Right now, it's at Chattanooga.
It's not too far away, about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Anyway,
right, so next game, it is the SEC title game between Georgia and Texas. Texas, a 2.5 point favorite right now. I believe
your turn to go.
My turn to go first.
Yeah. I kind of want to see where you go with this one.
All right, I'm going to take Georgia in this one because Georgia tends to get up for the big games.
And down for the bad games.
Yes. As you saw against Tennessee, they played their absolute best. The one exception to this would be the Alabama game earlier, but they did come back and make that a ball game. But they got up for Texas earlier this year. They got up for Tennessee. I think they get up for this one. And I think Georgia gets the win.
All right. So selfishly, but also because man, they just really earned my respect, and that's kind of why I've been saying it over and over and over in the show. I think Texas has a chance to get the rematch. It's hard to beat a team twice in one season in a row.
Yep, that's fair.
I think this is going to be obviously they lost at home to Georgia. You can't. They did lose at home to Georgia, right?
Yes, it was at home. Yes.
So obviously you can't really do that. But what I'm getting at is you're facing the same team again. It's hard to beat a team twice. And secondly, selfishly, I want to help ensure that we get the home game. And by doing that, I need Georgia to lose another game. Because right now they're one spot ahead of us. If they lose, they will drop one spot behind us, if not 2 spots behind us. So, selfishly as a Tennessee fan, but also because Texas gained a lot of respect from me in that win against A&M with 105, 110 people rocking that stadium. They handled it like champs, and I think they might have something for Georgia. I don't know how many games Carson Beck has like he had against us. And, I mean, if he has another one of those, then, you just got to, give him a clap, say good game, whatnot. But I don't know if he's got that in the bag again. I think Texas is a more complete football team. Give me Texas.
Hey, that's fair. I think it's anybody's ball game there.
Home game for the Dogs. That's a great point, but they will be 50-50. I promise you that.
Yep. All right.
In Atlanta, it's going to be 50-50. Like, there's no doubt about it. Adam says Dogs. Go Big Orange says home game for the Dogs. Justin definitely said the Dogs. I mean the Longhorns. Georgia in Texas, what they did. Imagine at home, Georgia with Texas. Again, guys, I get it. It's in Atlanta, but it's going to be 50-50. Like, it's going to be a split.
Texas fans are absolutely going to be coming out to that game because it's their first year in the conference, and they're vying for that SEC title game the first year in the conference. So it will definitely be 50-50.
And this is kind of what I'm pointing at. Adam says, dude, if Georgia plays like they did against Tech, like, give me Texas all day long. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, you just don't know what version of Georgia you're going to get.
But like I said, they get up for the big games and they play down to their opponents in the lower games.
Yep. Yeah, they definitely play up and down to the competition. I agree with it. All right. So you got Georgia. I got Texas. I like it.
This is going to be a separation week for somebody because spoiler alert, I will show the standings once we're done with these.
I want to come back.
Skylar is closed.
I want to come back out of this. So. Thank you, Orange. All right. Yeah. Because why not bet against the orange? I mean, it wasn't a good shade of orange, but by God, it's orange. And I bet on the orange. And they freaking came through in a big way against Miami. I'm so happy they did it too.
So,
anyways,
next
fraudulent
one,
Miami. Fraudulent.
Next one, Big Ten championship. It is Penn State going up against Oregon. This is a 3.5 point spread in favor of Oregon. You're up first.
Yeah, give me Penn State. I'm shaking it up.
I was not expecting that. I was fully expecting to have to pick Penn State, but you know what? Give me Oregon. So
I think Oregon's going to win, but I just want to, why not? Okay, look. It's just Penn State's first time in the Big Ten championship since 2016, 2017?
Something like that, yeah.
It's Ohio State, Michigan's conference, right? But now they did away with divisions just like the SEC did. And look at Penn State go. They lost to Ohio State and still was able to get in because Ohio State's trash. Sorry. Everybody's had an upset loss. I get it. I think this is Penn State's time. Like if they're gonna get it, it's now or never for James Franklin. If they can't knock off the Ducks, I'm not saying there's speculation raised around James Franklin because at the end of the day, dude, they just won the Big Ten championship. But again, now or never. And then lastly, I just have a hard time thinking that Oregon's about to seriously go undefeated. In a year where that just seems impossible for teams, does Oregon actually do it? I have my doubts. Give me Penn State.
All right, so to your point, it's either now or never for James Franklin, but here's why I didn't want to have to pick Penn State because Penn State and James Franklin, they tend to lose the games that they are not favored in. OH, uh-oh.
OH, uh-oh.
I'm going to have to join Eric's stream tonight and put that in there. So that's funny. I'm going to take that from you, Adam, but appreciate you commenting that in.
Adam, that's awesome, bro.
That's hilarious. But
for anybody that doesn't know what he's actually referring to, so Ohio State has a chant. It's OH, and then they yell I-O. Well, instead of I-O, he says uh-oh. That's pretty
hilarious.
Good. I like it a lot.
But yeah, anyway. James Franklin at Penn State just they can't win the games that they are not favored in. But he blows out the teams that they are favored against the majority of the time. So that's what scares me about Franklin. But on the flip side there, this is a game that Oregon can afford to lose. I know you don't get the first round bye if you don't win this, but
they would be ranked 5th and get, honestly, probably a better road to the championship. To the championship, because we didn't really talk about that. You're a 5 seed. You're playing the
12 seed more than
the G5 conference winner or the Big 12 conference, one of the two, right? Basically, what I'm saying is if you're in the 5 seed, you're playing a team that's probably not a top ranked team, but they won their conference to get in, right? So,
and then in the second round, you're basically doing the same thing.
You're doing the same thing. So, I mean, that would be the easiest road, right? And you get the home game. To me, the number 5 spot is the absolute most rewarding spot you could be. If you're Oregon, Penn State, you can have the Big Ten. Honestly, I'm thinking about it. Obviously, you don't want to do that because you don't know if they're guaranteed that 5 spot. But how in the world does the number 1 not go that much further down? They would, in my opinion, with their first loss of the season, being in the Natty, they would have to be the 5 spot. It would almost be a lock. So, I mean, if you're Oregon, if you lose this game, it might actually be better for you because let's flip that. If you're Penn State, you're probably not going to be the 1 seed, though. Because Oregon being the number 1 seed would have to face the winner of the 8-9 game, which right now is Georgia, Tennessee. Oregon doesn't want to face that for their first game. I just, I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to shake out. But if Oregon was the number 5 seed after taking this loss, that would almost feel like a win. In my opinion, I would love to be the 5 seed in this format.
Yep. All right, last game. It is the ACC title game. It is Clemson against SMU. The line in this one is SMU minus 2.5.
Give me Clemson. Oh, sorry. Your turn first.
That's fine. I was going to take SMU. So
that's fine. Give me Clemson. Clemson's not a bad team. They just ran up against the South Carolina team that was pretty hot.
Yep.
And Clemson's still playing for the playoff here, guys.
Yeah, they are absolutely playing for the playoff.
They absolutely could still get the playoff, and I think Clemson can do it.
Yeah. So that takes care of this week's picks. Now, I'm going to pull up the graphic for upset pick of the week to show what the standings are, but there will not be an upset pick of the week this week because there is no spread that's over 4.5. And
we literally just chose the opposites of every team. So every game. So it'd be hard for us to do upset pick of the week this week. I agree.
Yeah. So
however,
standings.
Penn State, I feel like, is pretty big upset.
Skylar has closed the gap to 2. He got the Syracuse game right, and what actually saved me from it being a 1 point spread right now. I covered 1 game in the spread. That's by literally the hook. So in the BYU game, they won by 12. They won by 12 in the spread.
I just want to show the folks here. I was down by 10.
Oh, I've got last week's here.
Down.
This was last week's standings.
I was down by 8 last week. I was down by even further at one point, I swear. But I have been just, I threw it out there and I just been, I've been reeling. That's what I've been doing. I've been reeling and I still got a little bit to go. But by God, I got you on the hook. I gotta get you in.
You mean you will be reeling after next week when I go 6-0, right?
Man, this man's still talking crap. He's still taking L. I see you, big dog. But I'm telling you, man, it's gonna happen this week. I'm really confident in Clemson. I'm very confident in Penn State. And I think that's where I'm going to make it up here.
Are you confident in Penn State? Because I would not be confident in Penn State.
I'm confident in Oregon throwing the game for the 5 seed. Yes, I am very confident in that. I think if Tennessee scores more than their opponents, they can win it all. Man, that is grade A rocket science. This guy might be onto something.
Honestly, I hate to be this way, but I can't tell if he's being smart about that or if he's being serious, because
I think he's
obviously
being funny. Maverick, we appreciate you tuning in, brother. We seriously, thank you so much for commenting, man. It helps us out so much more than you know.
Wait, Maverick, is Tom Cruise tuning into us?
Oh, you know the Anderson County, where I'm, they're the Mavericks. That's their school mascot. So Adam Lambert said, "Set the hook, dude. It's set, dude. I'm just gotta reel it in. I gotta be careful though. I can't reel it in too fast because I'll break the line. Like I've only got like 16-pound line. Like I gotta reel it in a little slow, and that's why it's taken all season. I mean, this guy got out to a big lead here. It's just taking me a little while to kind of get him back, and I think we got him. All right, and I'm very confident that Oregon's going to throw the game for the 5 seed. I'm very confident in that.
I just don't know if Dan Lanning would do that, but anyways, it's time to welcome back a stranger, man. Somebody that missed last week.
He has been lost, but Lord, he has been found. It is. I'm joking. We're not introducing him yet, but but I do want to let you know who sponsors this segment first before we bring him on the show, and that is Reed Bryant State Farm. Whether you're looking for auto, home, renters, or life insurance, Reed Bryant provides you with the personalized coverage options that fit your unique requirements. Their team is always available to answer any questions you may have and assist you in finding the perfect insurance solutions. At Reed Bryant State Farm, we understand the importance of safeguarding what matters most to you so you can focus on enjoying the game without worrying about the unexpected events. And to reach out to Jake directly, you can email him at Jake, Jake, at easttninsurance.com, or give their office a call at 865-457-1505. And yes, it is Jake. And yes, he does work with State Farm, but he is not Jake from State Farm. He is Jake Arnold, and he is with Rakin with Jake.
Yeah, but in full disclosure, guys, Jake, you might be muted, but Jake had to take the week off last week because he had to kind of recover from the lackluster performances of the last 2 Rakin with Jake segments.
Let's just smile at it. He really thinks he's not muted right now. Let's just smile at him real quick, make him feel.
Yeah, Jake, you are muted right now.
Yeah. He's like, what again? It can't be happening, dude. No way. No, it's fine, dude. There's just a little arrow down there that you click. There he is. I think I hear him. Was that him? No.
That was my phone.
Was that you? Oh my goodness, Michael. Come on, dude. Be professional here.
I'm trying, man.
Oh, yeah, my Jake, pants just got a little bit tighter now that
Yeah, Jake, you might have to back out and try to come back in because you're still muted on it.
No. Lee, hey, I appreciate you.
Yeah, one second, kind of just like
everybody was so happy for him, bro. The comment section went crazy. Colin said, Jake. We got Maverick in here say, yeah, ball. And then we got Lee in here that had a very funny comment that I'm not going to read again. And then Maverick was like, we love The Last Airbender on the podcast.
We got to leave that comment up for whenever he gets in here.
All right. I got you. We're leaving it on here. All right, show him on the yeah.
All right, Jake, are you here?
I hope so.
You are. So
dude, we figured out how to work a mic. All right.
So we want you to check out this comment that we left on the screen specifically for you. So
there's a lot of comments. I mean, I see one to my right over here that seems to be framed at just defamation at this point. We see 2 weeks ago, you could have said, you really could have rubbed salt in the wound and said 2 weeks in a row. But I'm not sure if that's the case or not. I really just, it was a blur. But outside of that, guys, 31-19 after going 1-4 for 2 weeks in a row. This is why football is the greatest sport, because again, it shows you what happens when you make a common mistake. You don't survey your opponent. You don't evaluate your talent. You don't look good. Imagine those 4-1s are those 1-4s are 4-1s. I mean, we're 8-2 instead of 2-8. Yeah. Unreal.
Real quick, Maverick said, have Jake talk about his playing days at Grace. He has a famous speech about wanting a ring.
So Maverick has to be somebody who's going under an alias. That's the first thing.
Bro's on his mom's burner account or something like that.
But I didn't play really at all. The more that I think about it, And the more that I think about it, the little that I played week 1 against Jefferson County, go back, watch the tape. If my quarterback would have connected with me, we would have beat a 6A team being 2A. I'd have the touchdown. Completely different momentum.
So was it the
Completely
quarterback's fault, or what was it
No, I
it the hands? Fumbling the bag, if you want to say.
See, Michael, this is why this game is so good. Is because it's complex. So it wasn't necessarily the hands. The hands were pretty sure about B minus, and that's pretty good for
B minus is sure. No,
high school 2A. I mean that gets the job done about 60% of the time.
High school, you get 5 targets, bro. If you got sure hands, it better be 5 catches, dog.
Yeah, exactly, especially in the wing tee. So that again, we don't talk about my high school days. I went SEC, man. Okay, yeah, I was loser. That's the whole point. That's what
Maverick out for blood, dude. Who's Maverick? Who is this guy?
I'm not going to name drop. Confidentiality.
Oh, look at you protecting a guy who's talking absolute bullcrap against you. I like that. All right,
he'll know after Maverick. Yeah, he's
Jimmy.
right. I ran a 7.240. Oh, 12 flat 40. Jimmy, I said 7.2, man. We have it on paper. I can run a sub 12, hopefully.
Can you still? Because I don't know if I can.
Golly, maybe I'll stretch for like 30 minutes. But
let's lock in here. Let's lock in. Like for Jake, obviously we love you for the picks, but you've been slacking here lately, so we're gonna put that on hold for just a second. How are we feeling after obviously Vanderbilt? How are you feeling about Tennesse, the Vols, where they are going into the playoff? Kind of want to give you the floor here to just kind of talk a little bit about the Vols for just a moment.
Yeah, so essentially that game I was indifferent about. I knew that game could have been I guess we'd win 42-41-17 was my final score guess. And it just again shows you how a couple of plays can make and change. That's why I bring that up at the start of the show. But it's just funny to me. I think right at halftime when Nico threw just the touch play to Miles. And then to respond with, and I want to call it arrogance, but it was good. But for Nico to respond in a way that felt intense, I hadn't seen that from him in his entire career here. Responsiveness is absolutely what is an indicator.
You mean to talk about like when he threw that touchdown and not he was in the face of it? Because I mean that was kind of nice to see in a way.
Again, goes back to,
in a way,
I don't know how I'm facing, but framework is everything when it comes to these things, and I'm going to reel it back to the picks. I think that Nico embodied it at halftime. I was with my girlfriend, Emmy, and we were just watching it, and she's really just watched football this season, and I really kind of evaluated her more than anything. It's been kind of funny, not to simp over a podcast, but it's been funny to see her reaction to how things have gone, because I've been able to give her a general framework of like how the game is played from a key perspective. And I know y'all love it. I mean, y'all mansplain, we all do, but whatever. The best thing to see was showing kind of her reaction to what he was doing on third downs. He was bailing us out in the first half in ways that he'll never get credit for, because he's the $8 million man, according to whoever sources we want to talk about. Who knows? It doesn't matter what he's getting paid. He's a starting quarterback for a team that we're assuming has clinched a playoff spot. And by all means, he's doing it is he a redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore? Redshirt freshman. Okay. Guys, what he's doing is exactly what you expect from him. And it was funny. I watched Heupel. Heupel was like flailing at some point before halftime. Timeout. And it seemed to me, it almost hurt me, because I thought Heupel was like, hey, Nico, chill out, because he apparently changed the play. You could kind of open audible, see a kill.
Yeah.
I think he saw something and really just got fired up. Because there's a time to just kind of throw the keys out to another guy, and there's a time to kind of fight over him a little bit. Man, he really showed what Nico's able to do and capture that in the second half. The defense came out; they made the plays they needed to. I mean, it just shows what a college football team is capable of, and I'm so proud of them. I think they absolutely are deserving of the spot they're at. I think they're a top 5, top 6 team. I don't think that anybody can argue really outside of that. They can, but I don't think they can do it successfully at this point. So super excited for the playoffs, and I do think they get a a home game. I mean, there's just no way around it. The landscape, talking about product on the field. I was watching a YouTube video about how all this stuff has gone. I think they've gone away from conference. I think they truly are focusing on product. So I think that we are going to see more SEC teams, whether that's Alabama or South Carolina, in this thing, depending on how these things shake up, because they are staying true to strength of schedule, quality of win, and what's the other one? Oh my gosh, it's proof of work. Is it proof of work? I don't remember how they word it, but they have a verbiage for it.
Probably iTunes.
So real quick before we get to your picks, if it was up to you, who would you put in at 9-3 from the SEC? Would you put in South Carolina
over Alabama all day? South Carolina over Alabama all day, and that is not to.
Ole Miss ain't even in the question, dog.
Can't be. Who did they lose to?
How?
It was so bad. Kentucky. I can't remember.
It was Kentucky at home.
Yeah. What did Louisville do?
See, that's horse crap, because in the middle of the season, I'm not saying this from you, but I'm saying in the middle of the season when they lost to Kentucky, which that was the first loss they had. But after they beat Georgia, they were seriously saying Ole Miss was the best team in the SEC. So how can we now say they don't deserve to get in because they're a 3-loss and now they're automatically worse than Alabama and South Carolina?
I think that it feels like, to me, the committee does it like on a rolling credit basis, where they will just allow you to keep your spot, and then let's just fill out what your outcome on the field and your product that you produced on the field is, and then we'll evaluate you. So that's my opinion on it. And I was trying to go through, I've been doing my notes and trying to check FPI versus the AP.
Hey, throw that back up there. Throw it back up.
Yeah. So I was doing
handwriting's pretty solid for a male.
No, I was blitzing it, dog. I was blitzing it. But what I was doing is I was looking at SEC FPI versus if you're.
You can put it down now, dog.
No. Check it out. There's 9 in the top 35 for the SEC, right? And so I'm trying to really look at what the metrics say without getting too into the numbers and just relying on the eyes. And that's what the committee is proving they're doing right now, is they're looking at what's on the field. They don't have time to sit there and just argue over every single play and snap, but they're looking at the on-field product. I think that there is an argument where you can see the committee go Alabama's way, but regardless, I mean, from what I've seen this season, they love product. They love product. It's been good to see. Let's get on to the picks, guys. I mean,
let's go on to the picks.
5-0 this time.
You know who Colin is? He's just taking my photo.
There's an awful video of me where this is actually great to talk about versus Harriman. Let me think. 2015. Oh God. I didn't know if it was a crack block or if I was blocking head on to the corner. So I looked at my head coach as a 17, 16-year-old man, boy, whatever you want to call me. And so I look over, and the play had been snapped. And in the film, it was widely discussed. Thank you for throwing that up. And that's just, again, going back to the defamation. But back to it, on the film, there was a big orchestration of how I thought I was looking to my mother, asking her to take my photo instead of wanting to block, where I was looking to the coach.
Yeah, I got you.
Once again, man.
Well, I like the first pick here. I like the first pick here a lot.
It's obvious. Yeah,
I'm telling you, Clemson's gonna murder SMU here.
You know what? I'm gonna ride with you on this, but I disagree. I think SMU is a much.
Then don't ride with him. He's 1-4 in the last couple of weeks, bro. You could absolutely not ride with him.
Only 2 weeks, man. But let's be honest. I came out the first 3 weeks off of some sure-bodied stuff because the industry didn't know it, and hit 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, 3. I'm just saying. I know what
I'm gonna need you to get hot. All right, like the Vols, we need to get hot at the right time. This is it. This is
a 4-1 week. I can feel it right now.
I think it's 5-0.
And this is the one loss. So
no,
it could be. It could be. Seriously, I out of all of them, this is one that I don't really know because I've not seen a lot of SMU. But I looked at SMU's body of work. I go down it, man. The big thing I look at is common opponents. I looked at Pittsburgh and BYU. The amount of yardage that SMU is giving up is disgusting. It's negligence, man. It is actually vile. I know that SMU has gotten away. They don't have a single ranked win If you go back, I know that if you look at what they had during the times they probably played people, they may have a sprinkle of time or two in. They're not good, man. They're not good.
But see,
They had
that's where we come into the argument that me and Skylar had earlier. All right. You can't look at you can't say, well, you beat a team when they were ranked now or ranked then, but they're not ranked now. And then you also can't beat a team when they're not ranked, but they're ranked now and say, hey, I mean, they're ranked now with it. You got to look at when it currently happens.
But it's groupthink, man. So they're going to roll it. That's why I use this rolling credit average, right? So we were so hot on BYU, and thank you to both of y'all for that.
Yeah, for 9 weeks, it was the play, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
My gosh, it was awesome. Teams fall off. I think the same thing's happening with Kentucky. You look at Kentucky versus Louisville. I mean, that was a skunk. Louisville,
Kentucky's never been good though. So
Kentucky sucks. They can't evaluate quarterback play to save their life.
Terrible, man.
But everything else checks out. Gerald Mincy, was he not in the concession
Their
stand?
offensive line is literally at the concession stand, dude. Like,
I mean,
it's terrible.
It's insane. But again, I just looking at everything on here and looking at like what you're seeing as a body of work from conferences, you're seeing that the ACC isn't just bad. It's just they don't have as many good teams like the SEC and the Big Ten do. No knock, but there's really 30 teams, 35 maybe, and then you just have a fall off. I mean, you just have a bunch of teams that just kind of fall off and they don't have anywhere to compete. Boise State's a unicorn. I think Boise State makes the playoffs. It's going to be one of my picks, but going back into it, I think that's this argument with Clemson money line. I think the points were Clemson were. I don't even think Clemson was favored. Were they? Or were they?
They're not favored. It's SMU -2.5.
Okay, so that line hasn't moved because that's what I recall it being when I looked a couple of hours ago. I think people are scared to make this pick because you look at it on paper, you see what SMU is doing to opponents. You think, oh man, they're taking care of business. Maffa, Clemson, Klubnik, these guys, they're resilient. They have played in games like this before. They're ACC champions. Guys, we have to remember what this is at, and this will foreshadow one of my picks when we go to, like I said, all these being conference games. So
something has to matter about being there before.
Yeah,
Clemson's
absolutely
been there before.
Yeah.
The coaching staff has been there before. SMU's completely new to this. And
Georgia has been there before.
What is that supposed to mean?
It just shows the standard.
Foreshadowing a little bit. So
I mean, Texas has also been there before. They literally made the playoff last year. So
not
I mean,
in the SEC.
They beat they literally beat Alabama, dog. Like I mean, we can go back and forth on that. Like either way, it's fine. I gotta get to a couple comments before we keep on going here. There was one way up here. Woods, Water, and Mizzou, man. We haven't seen Skeeter in a long time. But he popped in several minutes ago, said just wanted to say congrats on the season. I don't see a natty coming, but anything can happen at the same time. 7 toes out. It's an inside joke. It's not really a joke, actually, but if y'all haven't been paying attention, he did have an accident earlier in the year. He's now only got 7 toes. So that's why he brings that up. We appreciate you, man.
Woods, I don't know you, man, but I love the 7 toes down. That's symbolic because, I'm trying to look at these rankings. I keep keep staring at them. 7 is exactly where I think the Vols need to be. I mean,
7 seeded or 7 ranked?
Again, they're probably the 7th best team, but this is anybody's year, man. 7.
No, there's a difference. I'm being serious here.
Yeah, what he's saying is 7 seeded. Or will they be ranked 7th but get moved down to like the 8th or 9th
spot in the bracket? Is
off
what I'm
the way
getting
the
at.
committee's doing it, I don't think they will. The committee's staying by the book. They're trying to play off of those 3 indicators. It's body of work. That's the one I was trying to.
I don't think you're understanding what we're asking.
No, what we're saying is based on right now, Penn State and Notre Dame, they'll be in the top 4 come Tuesday nights. But by the time it's said and done, will Tennessee be seeded 7th, like being the 7th team in the bracket, or will they be ranked 7th but get moved down to like 8th or 9th because
you got to think the ACC champion in a group of 5.
That's splitting hairs. Y'all talked about that earlier, and I'll get back on that in a minute. I want to get through these picks first because that is a crazy question to ask until these conference games are played. Because truly, this next one, Penn State at Oregon, this one could blow your mind. Because I was trying to revalue teams if all underdogs won. Let's say my pick lost here and Penn State won, but I truly believe Oregon's going to win. They're the more complete team. This pick I actually feel less confident about than I do on the SMU Clemson. just to give you some relevance on. But Oregon minus 3.5 feels comfortable. The reason why I think this way is just because of, again, what Oregon has done week in, week out. They have beaten teams. They've shown what they can do against a team like Boise State that just want to nail it down. They want to squeeze the clock and do what they can. I think that this one, man, it could go either way. But at the end of the day, Oregon has a complete quarterback. So does Penn State, but Oregon really, they sold out for this year, man. I mean, Dan Lanning knows what he's doing. James Franklin, this is gut check time. I can absolutely see myself being wrong on this without question. And I don't care to say that this one, if I had to rank it, this is 5, Clemson being 4, and the rest being pretty good. Arizona State being 3, which I'd roll into at the very end of the pig just because everybody else thinks it. But rolling into number 3, UNLV, Boise State, it goes back to why I think that these teams that are able to sustain some type of run. I stayed on it, the beginning of the season. Teams that are able to just be dynamic are good, but having a guy like Genty in the backfield, without Dylan Sampson, Tennessee's not a top 15 team. And that's nothing because of, what they could do. I'm not trying to say what if they didn't have Dylan Sampson. I'm saying if you put any other back that we have right now and you had the same plays called throughout the remainder of the season, you don't win against Bama. You don't win against whoever else. You start to lose games because you don't have a dynamic guy to get you yards after contact and get you open field plays. So all that to be said, Boise State, Genty is going to create enough opportunities to win against that's a hard one to say. But this Boise State team is playing for more. I think that Genty is going to get snubbed in this Heisman. I actually put a bet on Travis Hunter September 1st to win the Heisman for like $8. So I hedged my bet for $10 on Genty. But I find it ridiculous because I think Genty is being disregarded with the 7.1 yards per carry he's having on the volume of carries he's having. Unless he gets hurt, there's no way that he can't single-handedly take over a game and keep you one possession just purely because he can keep the ball going.
The dude's about to have a 2,500-yard rushing year, right? He's very close, is he not?
Is he not higher? He broke top 5 all-time rushing. I didn't even need to see anything other than 7.1 yards per carry. It doesn't matter. 7.1 yards per carry. What else is he showing? Look at all the other stats. Who cares about touchdowns if you're getting 7.1 yards per carry and you're getting the ball, 30, 40 times a game?
Yeah, Genty is at 2288 total yards.
Yeah.
How many carries?
Let me
300 something.
You're telling me this guy was given
no, that's
I don't want to look.
Low 300s.
2 to 3.
312.
Yeah, I was going to say it had to be low 300s. Not that I'm a math guru, but I kind of am. But if it was 200, it'd be closer to 10 yards per carry.
I refuse to do it. But that just goes to prove what kind of workhorse that guy is. He's an Alvin Kamara type of guy, and it goes back to why we fired Butch. I hate it, but Alvin could have done it under this. Jalen could have done it under this. This is just a guy who's results based. He's just doing what he needs to do. And I agree. Dylan didn't make the finals, but I think that also credit to Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel has really elevated what Dylan Sampson's able to do by giving him numbers in the box. There's a lot of times that you kind of have to keep but Dylan Sampson absolutely does.
What about Josh Heupel though? Dylan Sampson the last couple weeks could have absolutely padded some stats, but Josh Heupel prevented that. Didn't allow that to happen.
I don't think he's 100%.
I was saying UTEP. He literally had 79 yards in a game where he could have had 300. I get it.
Heupel is playing the long game. He's playing for the title. He's not playing to get individual awards. And honestly, Dylan Sampson doesn't care about the individual awards. He would rather win the national championship game. And he said that himself.
Maybe Heisman, but I do feel like the dude's one of the best backs in the league.
Absolutely. I agree. He's a top 5, top 7 back, but you have to look at what the formula is for Tennessee. They're the orient of fastball, and they're going to slow down. They showed a lot of wide splits lately. That is just a method of chaos for anybody who runs any type of late design counter offense with their run scheme. So, but
Jake, to your point with the coaching job that Heupel has done on Sampson, I'm not even going to go with any of his running stuff that he's done. The job that he has done developing Dylan Sampson in pass blocking is what impresses me.
We have a lot of time. I mean, more time than I thought we would have this year. I was critical on our O-line because O-line play is at a premium, and you're going to see it, especially with the playoffs, how hard it is to, SEC teams are great, man. There's a lot of big fellas that want to play in the Big Ten that don't want to go too far away from home. There's a lot of great guys that come out of this O-line that come out of the Big Ten, in my opinion. I think the Big Ten is very well known for the type of guys that they can put on the fronts, especially if you look at the linebackers. I like some of those guys. But again, it's philosophy. It's a lot of different ways to coach ball, and I think that Heupel's done a good job putting running backs in a position to want to come here, especially guys who are dynamic, not really scat backs, but one-cut backs who can make a move and go and play and change the tempo. Genty would have loved to be here. That's kind of my opinion on that. Genty is the kind of guy that I think that if you had the right, just kind of slightly larger and wider offensive lineman, you could be okay with him. But again, you see it. You start slowing down tempo when it comes to the Georgia-Alabama game or Georgia-Tennessee game. You start looking at the big games. You still have to squeeze the clock and just see who's going to make less mistakes. So Georgia money line, man. I mean, against Texas, you've been there before. Georgia's been there. They've beaten Texas. Carson Beck, as much as I hate looking at Timmy Turner every single day, I think that he is getting done what needs to be done, and he is able to play a game of football that is a joker or a spade or a club. He's just able to give what he needs to. He's able to hit first-level passes, second-level passes. He's getting the deep ball just purely because he's got talent with Luther Bird, and he's got talent with whoever else is in that wide receiver unit that's explosive and high execution, high level of production. Nothing against Texas. But Texas walked into something that I think was highly televised. I think that Texas A&M is one of the hardest places to play. I think that A&M also is playing for a national championship, but I don't necessarily think that they're as complete as people like them to think they are. They very much think that they're better than they are, and they can definitely win it. But I would not want to run into Georgia, a team with elite physicality. Elite physicality. That's
elite. Georgia Tech with the ACC 8 overtimes.
8 overtimes, man.
Georgia Tech is a physical team.
Georgia Tech just straight up flails. It got it done, but they were just leaving their feet as soon as they saw the chance. And God forbid that anybody on Georgia's administration and staff changes their game plan. They actually had some really good play calls. The fake sweep into the Carson Beck keep was good in overtime. Love that play design. I can't believe it didn't hit. But again, it's just kind of at some point, it's like you're playing a game of Battleship. You're guessing where the pressure's going to go.
Exactly.
Oh my God, especially on goal line. And it's, it's funny. I was talking to my dad about this game. I said, I'm so happy that Kirby Smart had to exhaust all of his goal line packages in 8 overtimes, because that is a specific
all on film. Like you put it all on
everything
film.
We want to see. We want to just see it all.
Exactly. Exactly. We got several comments, but I'm going to get to them later. I'm going to let Jake finish up his picks here. We got Georgia. What's the next one on the docket?
The last one is the one that I say is at number 3. It's Arizona State, Iowa State. I don't know much about either of these teams, just to be completely honest. There's some heavy money on Arizona State. I know they had the points. I'm making the safe bet because, I want to make sure we go 4-1 this week. I looked at what they did against BYU a little bit. They still beat BYU, which I've seen a lot of BYU. They're a good team. They are a good team. They have a good quarterback. They have a good D-line. They have linebackers who respond to the ball and fly to the ball. They still beat BYU with 76 penalty yards. That is a lot of yards. And this team is still 10-2. It's a down conference. Iowa State, we were very hot on them for a minute. But again, I just think it shows why we kind of build on trajectory and why I think that there's a methodology to the way that the committee is doing these rankings. All they're doing is a plug and chug week to week. We got to live with it. There's a reason why a team like Notre Dame, when all goes crazy, could end up top 2 if all underdogs, end up winning. But that's why we play the game. And so I love it. But, I think this is the week that 4-1, 5-0 is very, very, very doable. So feel confident on this one, and absolutely don't take that as testimony and don't take that as absolute truth. But the segue that, because I saw the wherever it is, the hotline.
Yeah.
Skylar, if you want to segment us into that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you got a game with a problem, obviously, only bet what you can afford to lose. But if you do have that type of problem, if you find yourself having to deposit a lot of money into your account, the money that you probably don't have, guys, reach out to 1-800-889-9789 and get right. Like, we ain't trying to put anybody at a loss here. This is just something for fun, a little bit of pocket money that you can't afford to lose. If you hit, that's awesome. That's what brings you back and wants you to keep on playing, right? But obviously, if you lose, you got to know when to quit. And if you have trouble, by all means, please get that worked out. Don't want to see you lose a house or lose your family over a betting problem. And that is very real, and that does happen. So, 1-800-GAMBLER to get fixed up. Jake, man, we appreciate you being on the show as always. We love your insights. We love the little 3-4 man crowd you bring with you to kind of bust your balls a little bit. It's kind of nice. It's kind of funny. It's refreshing. But man, as always, we appreciate you. We won't hold you up anymore tonight, man, but we do appreciate you. And really look forward to talking to you again after conference championship week.
Absolutely. And don't hesitate to text me after this. You never know. I might have a little bit more free time than you think.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Might have to take an L in college football then, because I got to give Michael his L that he's been waiting on after this show, because we're in the third quarter right now, and I tell you what, it's not looking good for him. I'll be honest. Not looking good.
Text me after this, but fellas, I greatly appreciate the season. It's been great. I've truly enjoyed football. It's been a long time since I've enjoyed it. The backseat coaching has been hard to watch. This is the only time I've been able to really compartmentalize like the analyst side versus the fandom side, guys. So I appreciate this a lot, and I want to let you know, looking at everything when it goes into chaos is hilarious. You better hope that every underdog wins, because it gives us such a chance. It's not even funny. I started doing all of these crazy notes and theories with all of this, we all were just talking. I'm like, there's a real chance we could end up at 5, sit around and not see anybody until the semifinals.
There's no shot Tennessee gets to number 5.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see y'all next week, right?
No, seriously, Notre Dame would have it. If all that were to happen, Notre Dame would have that.
Beats Oregon.
Notre Dame would still have 5.
I disagree. I think Oregon gets 5 in that situation.
But I literally said that at the beginning, though. Okay, but I thought you were saying
6. Let's say you stay at 6, but even then, you stay at 6. There's enough.
So that's 2 different ways or 2 different reasons why Tennessee wouldn't have that 5 seed.
Who cares about the seeding? You can play a road game, but I'm getting off of here before you get me all fired up.
I'm sorry. Whatever. It's fine. It's whatever. I appreciate you, and I'll text you after the show.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, Jake.
He said 5, dude. That threw me off. It threw me off. Anyways, Adam, I'm getting back to your comment. Hold up. What happened to Brew pregame? Michael, you said you knew about this. Something flared up in his ankle, right?
So I did not hear what exactly the injury was, but I know it was during pregame he got hurt, and that's why he didn't play in the game. But I did not see what the injury was exactly.
I heard through sources that something flared up in pregame, and it was how hype is when it comes to injuries. Better safe than sorry. So it was one of those things where he's just like, you know what? Like, we ain't even pushing it. Sit out this game. We got some guys that stepped up, and they did. Mike Matthews stepped up in a big way. Dante Thornton stepped up, and now even he had a little bit of a banged up knee. But then you've seen guys like Caleb Webb, Chaz Nimrod make some plays. So, I mean, overall, that is what happened to Brew. I hope it's not long term. I think he'll be back ready to go for the playoff. Jake, do you think Tennessee would struggle in cold weather like Penn State or Ohio State? I mean, I don't think so, but Big Ten's going to play that card all day long. I
know that it can be a different cold up there, but it gets freaking cold in Knoxville too. So I don't think that'll be a struggle.
I think maybe the snow effect, but even then, I just don't. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Let's see. Any other comments before we jump off here that is worth noting? First year of the 12-team college football playoff has been historic chaos. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Tennessee is now 6. Tennessee is 6 now, 5 after championship games. Could be, but again, that's a ranking. That's not necessarily where we'd be seated. That's what I was trying to make it clear. Tennessee could be ranked 5th. What's going on with my freaking camera? Tennessee could be ranked 5th, but seated as low as 7th or 8th. Like, you got other teams that are going to get those that 1, 2, 3, and 4 spots that are guaranteed for the conference champions, right? That's going to bump Tennessee down if those spots are taken by teams that are below them, right? So it is worth noting, but I don't think Tennessee has a chance of being seeded 5th. If Oregon loses, they're the number 5 spot, right? If Oregon wins, Penn State's going to get knocked down. I don't think Penn State will get the 5 spot. I think then it could be Notre Dame, could be Georgia. If Georgia wins, Texas could be I don't think Texas will be the 5 spot. I think they'll be, either way, I don't think there's a shot for Tennessee to get that 5 seed. It'd be nice, but 5 ranking could get you a home seed. Yes, that is correct. Even a 6, I think. Tennessee, if they finish 6th, I think could still get a home seed rank. And for that matter, 7 would be close because you got to be 8th or higher or lower, technically. But, yes, if you're ranked 5th, it's almost all but guaranteed you're seated at a home game, 100%. All right. Knoxville is going to be cold. Everywhere is going to be cold, guys. It's freaking 3rd week of December. Like, it doesn't matter where you're playing. You can go ahead and expect 30 or below. Like, it is what it is. Welcome to, winter football, Christmas football. We love it, though. All right. Anything in closing, Michael?
I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody that listened during the show. I looked at one point and we peaked, I believe, at 25 viewers, and that's over all 3 platforms that we stream to: Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So thank you to all of you who have watched the show, liked the show, commented, shared it, and we gained on YouTube 6 subscribers while being live during the show. Thank you all so much for your support. And we look forward to doing this for quite a while. Skylar and I really enjoy doing the podcast, just interacting with you guys, but talking about ball, talking about our love for the Vols. I mean, we could not, well, we could do this without you, but we enjoy it a lot more with you because like Skylar said earlier, we remember a time when it was the same 3 people commenting and watching the show. So we've come a long ways, but it is a big shout out to all of you for your support that really makes us want to keep going with this. Just had to give that shout out there.
Dang right. In fact, Adam's been awesome. He's been one of the high commenters for the show, and he has just subscribed to the channel on the YouTube. He says, give me 4 more Vols games. That would be a natty. Maybe not winning the natty, but that would get us in the natty. Nicole says, go big orange. And Adam, I think for the first round, is saying it will be versus Tennessee in Neyland. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there. I do think if that matchup happens, it would be in Neyland, and I would be so down for that matchup in the first round. Guys, you mentioned 25 peaked viewers. We had 22 at one point just on the YouTube. So really stoked with the show today. We appreciate y'all a little bit longer today. But, guys, we got to talking about that playoff, and it's going to be crazy, and we are definitely in it. Are we not in, like, a blessed place to be in right now? Like, we don't have the stress. We don't have the stress that the conference championship will kind of give you leading into the week. We get another week to rest, honestly, to kind of get healthy. We had some injuries in the game. But we're in. Like, it's guaranteed. All right, it was a win, and we're in game against Vanderbilt. And although the first 6 minutes of the game we did not handle business, but by God, we handled business over 60 minutes. And can't credit the boys enough, can't credit the coaching enough. We're going to get right, going to take some ice baths, get healthy. And by God, I hope we're welcoming anybody. As long as we're welcoming somebody in Neyland, December 20th-ish, depending on when they make our game. It's going to be fun here in Rocky Top.
It sure is, guys. Thanks for watching tonight. We could beat Bama, but you know what? There's a reason we wear the big orange. So, go Vols, everybody.